Hi students, welcome to the session 39 on inflation accounting. So in the 38th session we saw the current purchasing power method problems. ಈಗ CCA method ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. So what is the CCA? Current cost accounting method. Okay, current purchasing power method number 1. Current cost accounting method is the second method. What is this method? This method considers the change in the price of specific asset items only. Okay, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು asset items ಗಳ change in the price ಮಾತ್ರ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ CPP ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ನ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತಗೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ they are going to take only specific asset items, few assets, okay, which is important, and changed price of that asset will be taken into consideration. The CCA approach value at the fair market value. Okay, ಈ approach ಅಲ್ಲಿ all the assets and liabilities are taken into consideration with the fair market value. Okay, historical cost illa, it's not historical cost, but it will be taking into account the fair market value. Okay, the price incurred during the purchase of fixed asset. Okay, fair market value when? During the time of purchase of fixed asset. Under the CCA method, both monetary and non-monetary items are restated to the correct value. So ಈ method ಅಲ್ಲಿ both monetary value as well as non-monetary value, both items are restated at the current values. Restated ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸತಿ ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೊಸ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಹೇಗೆ ನೀವು CPP ಮೆಥಡಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೋ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ CCA ಮೆಥಡಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಇನ್ ಟು what are the features of this method. Fixed assets are shown not at the depreciated original cost but at their net replacement value. So fixed asset minus depreciation, we used to show it in CPP. In this method, fixed assets are shown but not at less depreciation but replacement. Suppose you have to buy a new asset, what would be the value of that? So that replacement value they are going to show the fixed asset. Stocks are shown at the net replacement value. Even the stocks also, they are also shown at the net replacement value. Okay, replacement anta andre giving off the old and buying the new. So if you have to replace, what value you will get, that value it is shown. Depreciation is calculated at the current value of asset. Depreciation current value, it is not based on the historical value, it's calculated on the current value of the asset. Gain or loss due to the change in the price level are also shown in the separate statement. Whatever changes, like whatever profits it can be losses because of the change in the value, that is shown in a separate statement. Inventory consumed is valued at the price at the date of consumption. So inventory, how much ever it is consumed, the raw material, the finished product, the semi-finished product, at the price, at the date when they are consuming, ಯಾವ ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, they are putting it to use, that day price will be taken into consideration. Okay, some of the merits of this method, the profit revealed under this method is most accurate. Okay, so profit whatever you calculate using CCA method is most accurate ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ಡೆಸಿಮಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಫಿಗರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. The financial statement under this method reveals the maximum information in a meaningful manner. Any financial statements, the profit and loss balance sheet, if you calculate it under CCA method, it shows the maximum information with ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ meaningful manner. Okay, will show with the meaningful manner. That means taking into consideration the current value. That is why it gives you more meaning to the financial statements. Provision for replacement of asset under this method is very appropriate. Okay, so depreciated value na index value ತಗೊಂಡು ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, replacement of asset ಅನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. Provision, replacement ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಓಕೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹಳೆ ಅಸೆಟ್ನ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊಸ ಅಸೆಟ್ನ ತಗೋಬೋದು. ಆ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಈ ಮೆಥಡಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಸೇ ಡಿಮೆರಿಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ನಷ್ಟಗಳು. ಇದರಿಂದ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಡಿಸ್ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಇದು, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಷನ್, ದೇರ್ ಕುಡ್ ಬಿ ಅ ಬಯಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್. So CPV method we use general index. In this method we are not going to use general index, but we are going to use current purchasing value. Okay, so at that point of time which index should be taken, there is a lot of confusion on this. So that is a disadvantage. The method ignores the benefits of holding monetary items. Okay, and not consider monetary gain or loss. ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಅಸೆಟ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಆಗುವ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಾನಿಟರಿ ಗೇನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡಿಮೆರಿಟ್ಸ್. ಇದನ್ನು 14 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ಗಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬರೋಣ. ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್. ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ನಂಬರ್ 1, ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ you are going to prepare a financial statement using historical account. CPP you are doing the same thing, even in CCA you are going to do the same thing. Step number 2, you are going to calculate cost of sales adjustment, COSA. What is the formula? COSA is equal to capital C minus capital O minus LA open bracket C divided by IC minus O divided by IO. Now ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನ ಅಬ್ರಿವೇಷನ್ ನೋಡೋಣ. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಈಚ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್? ಸಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿ? ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓ? ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಲ್ ಎ? ಆವರೇಜ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಲ್ ಸಿ? ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಲ್ ಓ? ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Third step, calculation of monetary working capital adjustment, MWCA. What is this monetary value of capital adjustment? Refers to the adjustment made to provide increase in working capital due to the rising price. Okay, working capital will be decreased during inflation. So an adjustment is made to increase the working capital during inflationary period. That is what is called as MWCA. So it can be calculated as shown in the statement. Particulars rupees, accounts receivable, payment made in advance to the supplier. Both will be taken to the outer column. From this minus accounts payable and accruals. ಇದೆರಡನ್ನ minus ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you will be getting monetary working capital. Calculation of depreciation adjustment. What do you mean by this? Depreciation adjustment refers to the adjustment made to make depreciation proportionate to the current value of the fixed asset. Okay, this depreciation adjustment, why are you doing it? To know the current value of the asset and to make provision for that, so that you can replace that particular asset. Current value na ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದು. Depreciation adjustment must be deducted from the profits before income and tax. P&L account ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ಟು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ on the asset side of the balance sheet along with historical depreciation. So balance sheet you already have an asset, in that you will be deducting asset alli neevu depreciation na minus ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಈ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಡಿಪ್ರಿಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as depreciation adjustment. Now there is a new term called as step number 5. What is the new term in the step number 5? Backlog depreciation. What is this backlog depreciation? Backlog depreciation refers to difference between the total depreciation on current cost of asset at the end of the year and the total depreciation on the current cost of the asset at the beginning of the year. Okay, so simple. Okay, so ನಿಮ್ಮ starting of the year asset value, total current cost asset value ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆಯೋ ಅದರಿಂದ end of the year current cost asset value depreciation value ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you will be getting your current cost of backlog depreciation. Okay, so depreciation you can calculate, in simple term to tell, opening balance of your depreciation at the current cost you should take, minus it with the closing balance of the current cost at the end of the year. Okay, this is what is called as backlog depreciation. Backlog depreciation will be deducted from current cost of the asset at the end of the year and also from the revaluation reserve. Okay, so backlog depreciation will be deducted. ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ? ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರಿವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ನಂಬರ್ 6, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್. ಓಕೆ, ರಿವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? It refers to the difference between current cost of asset on the date of the balance sheet and historical cost of the asset. Okay, so revaluation means current cost. Okay, two cost, take two cost into consideration. One is the historical cost, one is the current cost. From the historical cost minus your current cost, whatever you are getting the value, that is your revaluation. Okay, the revaluation reserve must be added to the historical cost of the asset. Whatever revaluation reserve you are getting, that should be added to the asset that they are telling in the problem on the asset side of the balance sheet, and also current cost of accounting reserve on the liability side of the balance sheet. This revaluation reserve must be taken to both the sides of the balance sheet, even to the asset side with the asset, and even on the liability side it should be shown under reserve. Okay, so this is the 6th step. What is the 7th step? 7th step says calculation of gearing adjustment. What is this gearing adjustment? It refers to the adjustment made for giving effect to the benefit desired from borrowings on account of rising price. Okay, whatever liability we take, loan we borrow, right? So when we borrow the loan during inflation, what happens? You have to pay more, isn't it? Because the prices are more. So to make an adjustment to that, so that to make a provision for that, so that is why you have something called as gearing adjustment. Okay, so gearing adjustment will be added to the profit before interest and tax. Okay, how we are adding the depreciation adjustment, same way in the P&L account you should add this particular gearing adjustment before minusing interest and taxation. And after adjusting current cost of operation adjustment and also deducted from the current cost of reserves on the liability side of the balance sheet. One you are showing in the profit and loss account. Second one you have to show it on the reserve column, reserves and surplus column on the liability side. So this is how it should be done. So when you take the sales, you are going to minus, you'll see here they are telling you COSA, MWCA and depreciation adjustment. So from the sales you'll be minusing cost of sales adjustment and what is this? MWCA. What do you mean by MWCA? Market value of working capital adjustment, right? Your monetary value of working capital adjustment. And depreciation adjustment. This we studied in step number 2, COSA, step number 3, MWCA and depreciation, step number 5. So when you take your sales, when you minus all this, after minusing COSA, MWCA, depreciation adjustment, then you also have to minus the gearing adjustment. Okay, so this is idanna minus maadi, then you also have to take it in the liability side. Okay, how you are taking your revaluation reserve in two sides, similarly gearing adjustment will be taken in profit and loss as well as on the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, how do you calculate gearing adjustment? B gearing adjustment is equal to B divided by B plus S into A. What is B? Average net borrowings. Okay. Average net borrowings anta andre whatever loans and whatever liabilities you have taken for the running of the business. From that net means whatever payments you have made, okay, your advances it can be, or any other kind of expenses or charges it can be, minusing all that you will get net borrowings. So average net borrowings divided by S is average shareholders interest. Okay, each shareholders interest it will be given in the problem, average shareholders interest. A is total current cost adjustment. So this is the formula for calculating gearing adjustment. Next, step number 8, you are going to prepare CCA, current cost of accounting income statement. How do you prepare this? See, whatever we did in the step number 2 to 7, all that will be taken here. You see here. Profit before interest and tax as per historical accounting will be the first item. From this you have to minus less current cost adjustment, CCA adjustment. What are they? I told you, see, COSA, cost of sales adjustment, step number 2. You should take that. Next, see, monetary value of capital adjustment. See, step number 3 we have calculated, MWCA. That also should be taken. Third one, see, depreciation adjustment, step number 4, that also should be taken. So from profits before interest and tax minus all this, whatever you are getting is called as current cost of accounting profits. From this less interest paid or payable. So when you minus this, what you get here, to that balance amount alli you have to add few things. Okay, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು items na add ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. What are they? Gearing adjustment we already learned now, isn't it? Gearing adjustment should be added. So once you add it, what you get is called as current cost accounting profit before tax you will get. From this amount you should minus tax, you will get profits available to the shareholders. From this you have to minus dividend paid or proposed dividend. What you get is called as retained earnings. To this you have to add accumulated retained earning of the early years. Okay, retained earning anta andre reserve, previous year's reserves. If you have anything you have to add it. So what you will get, retained earning transferred to the balance sheet. Whatever balance you are getting, that is called as, this amount should be taken to the reserves and surplus, that is liability side of the balance sheet. Next, step number 9. In the step number 9, what you should do, you should take into consideration all the adjustment we have done from step 2 to step number 7, and you should take all this into the balance sheet. Okay, so CCA balance sheet you should prepare taking into consideration what are the items: depreciation adjustment, backlog depreciation, revaluation reserve, and gearing adjustment. Taking all this 4 into consideration, you have to prepare your CCA balance sheet. When we do the practical problem, you will be able to understand better, students. For this you have to do this. Okay, so let us recap once what all we did. Okay, when we do CCA method of inflation accounting, what are all we did? We studied the meaning, we went through the salient features, merits, demerits, steps. Step number 1, financial statement under historical cost. Step number 2, COSA. Step number 3, MWCA. Step number 4, depreciation adjustment. Step number 5, backlog adjustment, backlog depreciation. Step number 6, revaluation reserve. Step number 7, gearing adjustment. 8 and 9 is very easy. Your preparation of income statement and balance sheet, you have to prepare both, and then your 14 marks problems will get completed. Okay students, thank you. It was nice sharing this thought with you all. Any doubts you can put it in the comment box. I will try to answer it. Thank you students.